I'll tell you one thing, though.
Mm.
You have been causing a bit of a stir on various Big Finish groups.
Only one
We've talked
group, isn't it?
recently about. Well, it's interesting because we've been talking about reviews and how they might affect a person's listening experience. And your review of Daleks: Genesis of Terror,
Mm.
the Big Finish Lost Story production, is quite. It's quite a polarizing release. It seems to some people hate it, and some people have gone, "Oh, I think I might enjoy that if you put it that way." So some people seem to be being swayed by your opinions, which, of course, as we all know, they're always right, Philip.
Always. But like I said, the background to that is the fact that I wasn't planning to review it at all. It was just that someone put up a poll of the worst Big Finish stories ever, naming that as number one. And so that sort of bothered me in terms of, I don't like lists anyway, and we all know Necromantia is the worst one ever. There's nothing like that.
That will never get beaten off the
That will
number
never
one
get
spot.
beaten. Yes. So sorry if anyone does like Necromantia, I'm sorry, but I don't think you really do because it's just, yeah. Anyhow, we some stage we might talk about Necromantia, but it's just, you know me, I don't like being negative, but for that one, it's just sort of, anyhow. Yeah, so that one came up. Yeah, this person is doing the most hated Big Finishes. So the whole concept of the question I didn't like, people just coming up with what they didn't like, because I'm all about being positive. And
Yes.
so I simply added a comment to this one in terms of, and also I think in the top 10 was the Pirates. And so to me that just showed, okay, well, if you think the Pirates is one of the top 10 of the worst Big Finishes of all time, then you obviously have no idea what you're talking about. And I just gave a bit of a defense for, what's it called? Genesis, no,
Daleks:
Terror.
Genesis of
Daleks,
Terror.
Genesis, Terror. So I just gave a bit of a defense for it. And in the process of writing the comment, it got longer than I expected. So I ended up just copying and pasting it as a bit of a review. And basically, all I was trying to say to people, I'm not saying it's the best thing that Big Finish have ever produced, not even close to it. But if you understand what it is good for, it serves its purpose really well. Which is, it's not a Big Finish story. It's what they have that Terry Nation had originally in terms of his first draft of what became the Genesis of the Daleks. And for someone like me, and no doubt lots of people, our listeners, I bought the LP of Genesis of the Daleks and I listened to it for hundreds of times. I basically wore that poor record flat. And so
Me
I
too.
know every line, every bit of dialogue, and most of the first episode is actually on that record. There's a good 15, 20 minutes of that first episode there. So being able to compare that to what Terry Nation originally wrote was really fascinating. And as I said, it's got narration, but it's not narration, it's stage directions. And so Nicholas Briggs reads all the stage directions, and I really like how he reads the stage directions in a very, I don't say monotone is the wrong word, but in a unemotional voice. Just, these are the facts. This is what happened this is what happened here. And even from Sarah's point of view, slowly turned. And so all the stage directions for that first episode are all there, with the dialogue being wonderfully played. So all I was doing was sort of saying, being able to compare that first episode to what I have in my head all the time with that record was a fascinating thing, to compare one to the other, where changes were made. I do think Genesis of the Daleks, Robert Holmes, I think he improved the dialogue. And I think everything that he's done is actually better. But then hearing
Yeah.
the breakdown of every episode, just done, and that's only done as stage directions. It's just the summary breaks, points done by different actors who are in the cast. I think as a work of behind the scenes DVD commentary extra, it's a beautiful piece of work. But that being said, if you're expecting a proper Big Finish story, you're going to be disappointed. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to warn people, go in with the right expectation, and I think if you do that, you'll learn and enjoy it. But if you don't, you're going to be stuffed.
I was surprised at how many people were expressing their annoyance that this was advertised as a lost story and it's not like the other lost stories and I feel ripped off. And it got me confused because right from the day it was announced that it was coming out, Big Finish have always said exactly what it was going to be right from day one. I remember I got the press release. I read the thing and was curious about it. And so it's never been a secret that this is what it was, but people were expressing their annoyance that this was suddenly they were gazumped by it, it was a surprise, like it was, something Big Finish had gone out of their way to rip people off with, which was, annoying. They had never ever said that this was going to be a lost story like all the others.
No, I agree. I'd read the press release. I read the Big Finish articles. Vortex talked about it. It was on the Big Finish podcast. Everyone, I think, had explained what it was. But I do understand that some people had missed that. I do think the cover isn't helpful because it's a stunning cover. I love the cover. But
it's a great cover, yeah.
It's a great cover, but the cover really doesn't signify the fact it is only one episode, one half-an-hour episode.
Yes.
Maybe for people who just hadn't... I can understand people might have missed it. And so I do feel as though people did miss it and were surprised, therefore, by it. So that's part of the reason why I did the review, was to warn people, if you're going to get it, just know what you're getting. And if you like that sort of DVD extra sort of stuff, you're going to love this. If you don't care about those DVD extra sort of stuff, it's going to be a waste of money for you. So that was the point. But yeah, it has caused a bit of a stir, and I do wish they were paying me for my reviews. That would be nice.
I was going to say that. You made sure you passed on your bank account details for Big Finish?
Well, apparently a couple of people assume I am being paid for it, which is lovely.
More than a couple.
Some people thought I must be Nick Briggs, who's actually just done it himself. So if I could actually write as well as Nick Briggs, I'd be happy with that too. So a few things happening there that I'm really happy about. It hasn't got too ugly, because certainly one of the things that I appreciate about most of the people who listen to the Science of Audio is I think most people who listen to us have a positive attitude towards the show, and we can talk respectfully and disagree, and I think that's okay. And I think it hasn't got totally beyond the respectful. I've been watching it nervously, wondering if it's going to move beyond the point. But at the moment, I think people could sometimes express themselves a bit more. I disagree with you in a nice way, as opposed to who's paying you. But that's okay. I can live with that.